Scripture, especially Psalms and Lamentations, provides our primary corpora for the genre of lament, which we will be examining more closely in this chapter. But before we begin, it is important to point out the distinction between the genre of lament and specific Hebrew terms referring to lament. Most of these terms are more closely associated with ritual mourning of death and destruction than with general situations of pain and suffering. The three most common Hebrew words for lament are kinah, noun, deriving from kin, verb, ivel, noun, from aval, verb, and misped, noun, from tzafayed, verb. These terms are used most often to refer to a ritual, dirge, or mourning for the deceased. They're also used literally or figuratively to describe lament over the destruction of a nation or city. Most occurrences of these terms focus mainly on mourning rituals or associated outward mourning acts. More specifically, the most common term associated with lament, kinah, or in the plural, kinot, technically refers to a biblical funeral dirge or a eulogy, and is therefore used in contexts such as 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 17, where David writes a kinah for Saul and Jonathan, or in 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 33, where he writes one for Abner. The term is also used to lament the destruction of a city, such as Tyre in Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 32. These terms highlight the difference between a dirge, which mourns the deceased, and the broader concepts associated with lament. Dirges are not trying to change a situation. They mourn the death of something in the past. This is clearly different from laments, both individual and communal in Psalms, which often look forward to the hope of rescue. R.W.L. Moberly rightly notes that even though these dirges and laments are distinct in the Bible, nevertheless, the usage of the term lament to depict the content of the relevant psalms in which the psalmist cries out to God in time of trouble seems entirely appropriate. With this in mind, two questions come to the fore. What are the differences between individual lament and corporate or communal lament in terms of genre? Are these genres just general in nature, or can they be instructive for specific situations? This chapter will discuss the characteristic elements of biblical lament in detail, because we cannot recover the biblical practice of lament if we do not know what characterizes the laments we find in Scripture. Thus, we dive into the study of Scripture so we can learn the nature of lament for God's people.